Hey there, it's Emily from Bio Lenses, and we're continuing our journey in our BL Basics video series. You ever wondered about food preparation videos, specifically that over the head onto the cutting board type shot? Well, there's no one correct way to do it, so I'm going to show you a few options, and then maybe we'll learn a little bit about rigging along the way. First, we'll start with our camera and lens selection. Today I'm using my Fuji X-T2, and I chose this for a very particular reason. I have it with me. Any decent camera will do for a shoot like this, and seeing as I'll be mounting in a more precarious way than I typically do, sticking with a smaller, lighter body is probably a good idea. For my lens choice, I'm going with the Fuji 16-55 zoom, pretty much my all-time favorite lens these days. It'll allow for some easy framing choices. If you want a wide look, you'll have to keep the camera and lens combo lower, which could get in the way as you cook, but you'll be able to frame up easily. So it is still an option. But if you're hoping to get the camera out of your way, try going with the 35 or 55. But remember, you'll need a step stool or an external monitor to help you frame up your cutting board. In terms of lighting, as luck would have it, I have a nice window off the side of the house in our dining room, where I've augmented some of the light with a KinoFlow Select 20 DMX LED kit, with a little bit of diffusion over it. Why my dining room, you ask? Stay tuned. I've augmented the light so that there's a good, even exposure noticed overall on the cutting board. If I raise the blinds, the light is too one-dimensional and green thanks to the shrubs we have outside, which is why I've kept them down and semi-open. The diffused KinoFlow is set at its daylight color temperature, allowing for a smooth and consistent lighting scheme in my particular shooting area. The daylight coming in from the window is simply not enough for the exposure I'm looking for, so it's good to help bring it up a bit. Now to the main course, how to get your camera in position. The absolute simplest way is to use a tripod with a column that can be mounted horizontally rather than just vertically. I'm using a Manfrotto 502 AH head and 055X Pro 3 tripod kit. I'll admit this is not my favorite route to take, however it is doable. Just be sure not to overload your tripod too much. Sticking with a mirrorless camera and small zoom lens is your best bet. If you overload it with something too heavy, you'll end up watching it fall over. Make sure you've set the tripod first, seeing that it's sturdy and over your cutting board. Then slowly mount your camera. Also, remember that trusty sandbag. It'll depend on how you want to cook. The tripod can get in the way if you're hoping to be under the camera. Although, you can always go to the other side of the cutting board and flip your images in post. Now let's dive into how I would do this on a shoot. I use what we call a C-stand. It's much more stable and has different levels in order to be able to rise the column up, which is beneficial in getting it up and over your head. Now for me, I have very little to no room in my actual kitchen to move as freely as I'd like. I've decided to cheat my cutting board into my dining room table. See, got there eventually. All that matters is getting the shot right. Who cares if it's in your kitchen? So to recap, C-stands, sandbags, camera and lens, and then cheated cutting board, dining room table. With me so far? Now, setting up your C-stand. You want the gobo head on your right hand side, so that when the arm is extended, it seems to tighten itself. And then with those trusty sandbags we've been talking about, put one at the base of the stand and then also at the end of the arm. Now I have a couple options with me here. Always best to give yourself options. Sometimes things look good in your head, you think the setup will work, but in the moment you're setting it up, it doesn't always turn out the way you expected. First, we'll start off with the base plate. This is probably my least favorite setup, at least when using the C-stand. The base plate allows for neither panning nor tilting easily. All of that has to be done by moving either the end of the gobo arm's locking mechanism or the whole arm itself. With the base plate, there really is no wiggle room for fine-tuning easily. Second will be the monopod and cardellini. While the monopod works easily enough, it sits just great in the cardellini and does allow for tilting, it does not allow for panning as easily. One must turn the whole monopod if that is the desired correction. It has to be done by untightening and tightening the clamp over and over. And then we have the tripod head. The tripod head will mount in the arm. Or at least I thought it would. Remember what I said about having options, which allows for trial and error? This looked good in my head, but on set it's just not holding the way I want it to. It's very top heavy, causing it to fall out of place. It's also causing the end of the C-stand arm to tighten incorrectly, which makes it difficult in getting the end of the tripod head out easily when I'm done. So actually, I like this much better. The cardellini with the tripod head is much more secure. In adding the gartellini to the tripod head, this is probably my preferred setup. This tripod allows for easy unlocking locking mechanisms for tilt and pan. It's just the most secure while also allowing for those small fine-tuning moments when lining up the shot. There you have it, some basic tools for getting the cutting board shot. I hope this BL Basics episode has given you some food for thought for your next food video. Good luck! I'm gonna go now.